Hi everyone, I decided to focus on autism spectrum disorder, also known as ASD, and I am going to tell you a little bit about that. So autism affects 1 in 54 children in the United States. Symptoms usually present themselves around 2 or 3 years of age. So by the time a student reaches the middle grades, hopefully they've already been diagnosed and have been working on some of their issues for a little while. Autism is a developmental disability, and it is a really big range of symptoms. Some people with autism are nonverbal, some are verbal, some are high functioning, some are low functioning. But this is always something I find really interesting about autism because it really is unique to the individual. So people with ASD, autism spectrum disorder, sometimes have a hard time managing and regulating their emotions. They have a hard time sometimes reading emotions from others and also dealing with their own stress and anxiety. And to me, having a calm environment and a calm sense of self really affects directly your schoolwork and how you're going to be doing academically. So being able to help a student in your classroom deal with their stress and anxiety, especially a student who might have a harder time than others doing so, is really important to me as a teacher. So this is a picture of my family. On the left is my brother, Jeffrey. He is currently a middle grade student, and he is a student with autism, and he is the root of me picking autism to learn a little bit more about it. I've always been really interested in my brother is high functioning, but he does deal a lot with coping with his stress and anxiety and reading the emotions of others, which causes him a lot of stress and anxiety because sometimes he doesn't know what's going on in a situation, which can lead to greater stress for him. So really paying attention throughout his life so far of what works for him and what doesn't work for him, and what has worked with other people that I've worked with autism. I've worked with Easter Seals for a few years, an organization that does a bunch of things, and one of the things I did was work one-on-one with high-functioning teenagers and adults. And primarily, I did work with people with autism, and I have had people who are nonverbal before, and really what helps them is something physical and concrete in their hands, and also a schedule, just having everything mapped out and planned out. But I'll get to that a little later. So a lot of people with autism have difficulty with abstract concepts, and that would include emotions such as stress and anxiety. So sometimes dealing with those abstract concepts is really hard. So bringing that into a more solid idea could really be beneficial to a student with autism. So there's a lot of strategies ranging from high technology and low technology to help a student who has autism. Some of them is a weighted blanket, sensory balls, image boards, apps to aid in communication for the nonverbal students, and then videos. I chose the Worry Stone. So it has a little indent in it usually, and you put your thumb in the indent and you kind of just rub it, and it's supposed to help you channel your anxiety and your stress into this action to help you calm down, soothe yourself, and work through those emotions. So it's basically has the same concept of a fidget spinner that was really big a few years ago. So it's just taking that abstract concept and working it through something concrete, something solid, something you can see in front of you, and taking time to decompress and focus on something else, and helping that student, giving the student the tools to be able to calm themselves is so important. So when I imagine my future classroom, I kind of imagine a bowl of worry stones or soothe stones, and students can kind of just take them as needed. But having that accessible, or having other things accessible to my students, especially my students who may be on the spectrum, is really important. I couldn't find a lot of information on worry stones, but I hadn't heard of it until Dr. Hilburn had brought it up. So I found that really interesting because I've heard of weighted blankets, a bunch of other things, that I hadn't heard about the worry stone. And I brought it up at my job to one of my coworkers. And one of my coworkers has a son in the middle grades, and he has autism. And they had used the worried stone on his son before and said it's helped a lot. Um, his son is verbal, but what I like about the worry stone is it's really easy. Anyone can use it. There's not an on-off switch. You don't have to deal with the high technology aspect of it. You literally just take it and you rub it. So it's really, really simple to get used to and to work through and help you work through your emotions.